Now let's review the requirements specified in OSHA 1910-119N, Emergency Planning and Response. The employer shall establish and implement an emergency action plan for the entire plant in accordance with the provisions of 29 CFR 1910-38. In addition, the emergency action plan shall include procedures for handling small releases. Employers covered under this standard may also be subject to the hazardous waste and emergency response provisions contained in 29 CFR 1910.120 A, P, and Q paragraphs. I mentioned to you earlier that the OSHA standards are written in blood. In other words, numerous accidents involving loss of life and injuries had to take place prior to OSHA promulgating a standard. Now let's take a look at the Texas City disaster that was in April 1947. That's considered the worst U.S. industrial disaster. Explosion of ammonium nitrate, which is fertilizer, very, very explosive. Now that led to a mutual aid pact between Houston area industries and improvements in planning for mass casualty incidents. So we look at a lot of emergency response today, a lot of the requirements and a lot of the fundamentals that comes from the Texas City disaster going back to 1947. So in looking at some egress, some means of egress disasters, let's look at some common hazards here. The 1903 Iroquois Theater fire in Chicago, the 1911 Triangle Shirtwaist fire in New York City, the 1942 Coconut Grove fire in Boston, Massachusetts, and finally the 1991 Imperial Chicken Plant fire in Hamlet, North Carolina. So all of these shared some very common causes. Blocked or locked exits, doors opening inwards instead of swinging with travel when required, an inadequate number of exits, lack of emergency planning and training.